Blank Dieters! So today we want to talk about food addiction. For many years, people have wondered about this condition. Is it a real thing? Is food addiction really a thing, or is it just an excuse for overweight people or people who like to overeat to kind of just, have an excuse to do so? Or the other side is this a real thing and are people really suffering? And if it is real, it means those people really need the attention of professionals and external help to help them break this addiction. So that's what we're talking about today. Let's get into the video. Welcome back, Blank Dieters. Thank you so much to all my returning subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you're a newcomer, welcome. Remember to complete the ritual that makes you family and click the subscribe button down below. Also, click the notification bell so you are notified every time that I upload a new video. Like, share with your family and friends. Leave me a comment as well down below. I want to hear your thoughts and I will get back to you on those comments and we can have a full-on discussion down in the comment section. Let's get into the discussion of the day. So we're talking about food addiction. First of all, addiction is a disease. This has been something that we have known for decades now, that someone who is addicted to a substance or to a behavior or to a habit, they need help. It's not something that they can control. It's not within their control, or even if it's within their control, they still need some help. So we're talking about food addiction. A lot of times when people see overweight people or people who overeat, they tend to judge because they think, hey, this is food. You can't tell your stomach that I'm full. You can't tell yourself that, hey, I'm done eating now. Like, what's wrong with you? But when I watched shows like My 600 Pound Life, I really got to understand that there is such a thing as a food addiction, and it is as much of an addiction as any other addiction that people are suffering from out there. People cannot control themselves, and you can see that this person is a slave to food. Food is their drug of choice. Okay, so what I'm happy about is that in recent years, people who suffer from food addiction have gained some support, mainly because of studies that have been done, some brain imaging studies that actually studied the effects of compulsive overeating on the pleasure centers of the brain. So when I was looking at this, I found an article that spoke about studies that have been done in animals and in human beings that actually showed that for some people, the same reaction that is triggered by heroin and cocaine on the reward and pleasure centers of the brain is exactly the same reaction that is triggered by food. So that is cause for concern right there. Can you imagine what that life is like? Like for me, like I mentioned earlier, watching shows like My 600 Pound Life, it really made me feel like I cannot judge these people, because if you just look at them, you know that this is a problem. Some of them cannot even walk out of their houses. They have to be assisted by maybe construction vehicles or something like that. They have specialized equipment to actually take them out of their house. Sometimes they actually have to break the wall open because the person cannot fit in their door anymore. Come on. That is definitely a problem and an addiction that needs external help. They cannot beat it on their own. Some of these people, they can't even ride in a car for a long time. They have to be stopping every so often so that they can check their heart rate to see that, hey, is everything okay? Because if they just ride in a car for a long time, that can really be detrimental to their health, or they can even die. So when you look at things like that, that's when you really realize like food addiction is real. And now I like that it's actually being backed up by science, so that people who are judgmental don't just think, hey, these are just people who are lazy to go and exercise and they like to overeat. It doesn't work like that. So that study that shows that the same pleasure centers of the brain are activated by food in the same way they're activated by cocaine and heroin. It also shows the type of foods that lead to this kind of reactions are highly palatable foods such as fatty foods, sugary foods, and salty food. That's why you can definitely be addicted to a good Pringles, some Lay's, chocolate snacks, ice cream, fatty food, deep fried foods, the foods that are really highly palatable and things that are really good. In my experience, I've seen that anything that is pleasurable, anything that triggers that response in your brain of, oh my God, this is so good, it definitely has the potential to be an addictive behavior or an addictive habit or an addictive substance. So when you consume these highly palatable foods, you trigger what we call feel good chemicals in your brain, such as dopamine. And those chemicals, when they start being, released, they may override important signals of, let's say, satisfaction or satiety. So even if you're full, those signals have the potential to override that fullness. Your brain saying, I'm full, is overridden by the feeling of, this is so good, give me some more, give me more, give me more. So even if you're full, you will end up just eating more and eating more and eating more because you want more of that dopamine, that reward chemical, that feel good chemical to be released. So as a result, someone keeps on eating, 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 even when they are not hungry. So that explains that behavior of somebody getting up to 600 pounds, 1,000 pounds, because they don't know where to stop. They're addicted to that dopamine. And they say that compulsive overeating is a behavioral addiction, meaning that someone can become preoccupied with it, kind of like gambling or shopping. Also, people with food addiction can develop what they call tolerance to food. They eat more and more, but they find that they are getting satisfied less and less. Like you can find that maybe one tub of ice cream or half a tub of ice cream was enough for you. But when you develop this addiction, you will find that you will eat maybe 2 tubs of ice cream or maybe 3 tubs of ice cream. It's just like the same as, like, I guess, alcohol addiction. You find that maybe a glass of wine is okay for you. Then you start drinking 2 glasses. Then you find that you're finishing 4 or 5 bottles. There are some people who are like that. When it gets to be a problem, you end up drinking 4 or 5 bottles of wine. This is just, becoming an addiction. Scientists believe that food addiction may play a huge role when it comes to obesity, but what may surprise you is that normal weight people suffer from food addiction as well. Maybe they just genetically built in a better way to be able to handle all the food that they're consuming. Or maybe they increase their physical activity to compensate for their overeating. Like, I know there are some YouTube channels that I love to watch of people that just go all over the world eating, 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 eating. And I can't say they're addicted, but I'm saying they do compensate for their eating. Let's say they fast all day and then they eat all these different foods for their shows. And then afterwards, that person heads to the gym for a good 4 or 5 hours just to work that off. So some people can kind of balance it out. And I guess that's how a normal person, normal weight person can actually be addicted to food. So people who are addicted to food will continue to eat no matter what negative consequences they are experiencing, despite the weight gain or the damaged relationships. Because imagine this, you're gaining weight. Like if you watch My 600 Pound Life, they will actually be narrating like, when I became 200 pounds, then I became 300 pounds, then I became... So they see what is going on with them, but they cannot stop the behavior. And it's damaging their relationships because sometimes the things that they do for food, let's say if they can't work anymore, they end up going on disability, some of them. Or if they can't get out of their house, it means they have no social life. They cannot go and see their loved ones outside of their home. The loved ones have to come to them. Some people, I saw this episode of a mom who could barely do anything with her child. And I was just like, this is just so terrible. This can definitely damage a relationship. Imagine even a marriage when you are in a relationship And this partner of yours now needs to bathe you. They need to bring you food. They need to take care of all the household bills and chores and all that. So it can definitely mess with relationships, but they still cannot stop. That's what really kind of gives it away, that this is an addiction. It's not anything, it's not something that they can help. And just like people who are addicted to other things like gambling, cocaine, heroin, they need outside help because they have trouble stopping that behavior. So if you know anyone in your circle who struggles with this problem, I hope that this will help you to understand them better, maybe even offer them your help and be their support system so that they can beat this addiction, because food addiction is a real thing and someone can die from it. Someone can feel like they are a slave to food and they feel like they're living their life in a prison because they cannot kick something that seems like a simple habit like food, like overeating. So anyway, blank dieters, that's all I have for you today. Have you heard of food addiction? Do you know anyone in your circle or in your surroundings or maybe in your family who is suffering from food addiction? Let me know down below. If you have more knowledge about the topic that we're discussing today, feel free to share it with me down in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I am coming back again with a part 2 of this video. So we talk about the signs of food addiction and what can be done when someone is addicted to food. So till the next video.